Marcus, I'm Sherri Powers, the Director of Marketing at TechSmith, and we provide software, so desktop software that allows for easy screen capture or video editing or image editing for do it all kind of marketers who have to provide feedback on an image with Snagit, or Camtasia provides video editing so that they can at least get a jump start on creating some video content if they don't have out-of-house content or contacts or a huge budget to do so.
Yeah. And so your team is how big?
So we have a team of about 25. Yep.
25.
Yep.
So here's the thing, at the sales line, we are oftentimes working with companies that, they might have a team of, if they have a team in marketing, maybe it's 3 or 4 or 5 max.
Yep.
A lot of companies that are sub $100 million. What's the biggest difference between a team of 3 or 4 in a marketing department versus, in your case, say 2025? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference might be the luxury of some innovation time and some time to step back from just the everyday, we have to do this, this, and this, and we're all doing 50 things at once. The do-it-all marketer type of busyness, to being able to say, okay, well, what if we approach this a different way? Or what if we were to realign our efforts in this direction? Do we have the time and the capacity, while we have a group of people also keeping these things cooking, to kind of reach out and try those things and see if they pay off or not? So
it's like, if you get a team of 2025, what would you say are the top 4 or 5 most significant positions?
Ooh, that's interesting.
In other words, you're like, these are my core 5, and the rest kind of just filter out underneath that.
So I don't know that you could rate them in that way, actually, because what ends up happening is, you've got a team of 3 or 4, then you move and you expand from that. The luxury that happens is those 3 or 4 can start to specialize in different areas.
Yeah.
So you're still covering all the same areas. You've got your digital marketing, you've likely got a little ad spend going on, you've got your direct marketing, you've got your content development, your video production, but all those jobs were still being done. They were just being done on a smaller scale when people had time, as opposed to really being able to dedicate the time to really evolve those areas into what could be more of a demand generation process or strategy, or more of a consistent cadence of content being delivered and things like that. So I don't know that there's one key area or a group of key area per se, but you just get that luxury of specialization in a sense, to an extent. Yeah.
So for you guys, you've been with the company how long?
So I joined last January. So it's been just about 2 years for me there.
2 years.
Yep.
Okay, so.
And before that, I was on a team of 5 or 6 marketers. So
So you've seen the.
I've seen the scale, definitely.
Yeah, you've seen the 2 differences. We were talking about this a minute ago, and maybe we could bounce this in terms of what you're seeing in terms of strategy for content.
Yeah.
Say 5 years ago, 2 years ago, and today.
Yeah.
Let's scale that out. What does that look like for you? Then maybe I can talk about what it looks like for some of our clients, or what we're pushing, what we're trying to push.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a lot of changes that are happening right now.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear what you're doing for your clients in that respect as well. And we talked a little bit about, too, what you've spoken at Content Marketing World since the start of Content Marketing World as well.
6 years, I think.
So the evolution of those topics and what you have been, even from a thought leadership perspective, evangelizing from that realm. But I would say the biggest evolution that I've seen is really the buy-in that content no longer needs to revolve around product and the end solution that you're trying to push across from your brand. And people are really buying into the idea that you need to take a step back and really get people to start in from more of a problem-aware, a solution-aware area from a thought leadership perspective. If they're not bought into the fact that they need a, end table, they're not going to be purchasing a certain brand's end table, or they're not in the market to do so. So evangelizing the first step, so that people are bought into the idea that they need to be looking into this type of solution or this type of product before all of your content starts integrating product?
Overall, I don't think things have changed a lot in 6 years. I would say 6 years ago, when I started speaking here, and if I said to somebody, how would your organization define the phrase content marketing?
Yeah.
I think it would have been a very marketing-centric definition, which is fundamentally flawed.
Yeah.
Because if it's marketing-centric in definition, then you're going to have a problem with buy-in out of the gate.
Yep.
Because you've got semantic issues with the way that you're describing the thing, right?
Yep.
And so I think the biggest issue in the space that is content marketing 6 years ago was buy-in. I still think the biggest issue 6 years later is buy-in
Okay.
of people, organizations catching the vision. Maybe you have a leadership team that catches the vision. Oftentimes, not everybody does. If they do, oftentimes somebody in sales, if not the sales manager, doesn't catch the vision.
There's someone, yeah.
Yeah, and so the question is why? And I think a lot of it has to do with the way that we have explained the thing. So like, if you go to a sales team today and you say, why does the marketing department produce all of this content? Like, I'm really curious as to what the answers to that are.
Right.
Because I think oftentimes the answers to a marketing department would be appalling as to what they would hear from the sales team.
Yep.
Because there's such a big disconnect. So I still think that's the biggest issue. I think the biggest trend is video. I mean, I really,
Yeah.
and if anybody's not recognizing that for what it is, you almost would ask, are they blind to the marketplace? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
To trends. And so I would say over the last 2 years, our biggest change with our clients at the sales line has been taking companies that say, we know video we've got to show it, but they just don't know how to create that culture in-house.
Is the sales team understanding how to share those appropriately to actually
Huge
get to
problem.
the message in the right place? So TechSmith creates video editing software,
Yep.
obviously, so we're a little bit more culturally aware of the need for video, I think, on our internal sales team, but we do distribute through a lot of channel partners, even our software as well, for enterprise buyers, and getting them to use the video content even that is created and delivered to them. We still get a lot of calls and requests for, when they think of content, they think, I need a PDF for this.
Yeah.
You know,
It's crazy.
can you make a PDF? You know, we just need a PDF.
I think a lot of the problem is you take an event like this, content marketing world, right?
Yep.
I don't know how many people are here this year, like 3,500, let's say, whatever it is. If we broke it all out and said what percentage of the people here are marketing department,
Yep.
it's probably about 85 to 90%.
Absolutely. I would say the same. Yep.
Yeah. And so let's just assume that the other 10% is made up of sales and leadership teams.
Yep.
I think until we get to the point where that number's like 75-25, but how many people are going to be here over the next couple of days? They're going to be inspired. They're going to be moved. They're going to learn. They're going to be touched. They're going to return and report.
Yeah.
And they're going to
Hit a lot of roadblocks
immediately.
there. Yeah.
Somebody's going to rain on their parade, if not a lot of people, because they weren't here, because they didn't hear and see and catch the same vision and have the same feelings. It's more important that the sales team manager is here than the CMO.
Yep.
You know, it's more important that that person on leadership, just regardless of scale of company, but that person on leadership is here again than somebody in marketing. But we send all of our marketers here, and we still have a big issue. And it's the same way at Inbound.
Yep.
It's the same
it
way
is.
at any major conference. And somehow we've got to do that, because the majority of the issues that we're having with frustrated marketers, it's because of a lack of education, of ignorance of the team, and the ignorance is spawned by the fact that they just weren't present for those learning moments.
Right. Yep. And then taking the time to absorb, even from the marketing team, in some cases, it can be hard for a sales team that's, they're there to sell, to take time off from the sales floor, even to come to this. So pushing that message of the importance as well and bringing that back is something that it's a problem to solve, definitely.
So one of the things that we believe in a lot is what we call insourcing and using your employee talent,
Yeah.
your subject matter expertise in-house to help produce content. How have you seen that with, whether it be with TechSmith or with other, like say larger brands, have you seen them successfully leverage outside of marketing subject matter experts? And specifically, I like to lean towards the sales team here, but maybe outside of that, maybe the engineers or whoever it is. Have you seen companies successful with that? Like, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I've got lots of thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on that?
So initially, my head goes towards authenticity. One of the biggest hangups I see marketers having maybe in creating video is the fear that it has to be perfect, right? Or the sales team thought that a video is not a video if it's not perfectly polished with an intro and an outro and all the right transitions in between in the lower thirds. And I think some of the most successful content that I've seen out there is just brands being authentic, putting themselves on camera.
How do you get over that though? Like, so let's say you take a brand that has this image.
Yeah.
So an SMB can pull it off, that nimble video element, I think easier than say a TechSmith or somebody that is a very well-known brand. Because, once you get to a certain place, you're resistant to not produce stuff that looks amazing every time.
Yeah.
And I'm all for what you're saying. I mean, I am screaming, let's accept that. Really, frankly, the majority of videos that we produce with companies are not going to be high-end production. 10 to 20% might be a high-end style, but the other 80% is that just good salt-of-the-earth educational stuff that is show it so they can see it. So how do you, have you had success with that, helping, especially those in leadership, say it's okay that it doesn't look like a $30,000 production?
Yes. So we're still not 100% there, I would say, but we have had success with this. One of the things we started doing this year is just live Facebook streaming, which is very in the moment, authentic.
Especially
never
for a brand,
perfect.
That's atypical.
Someone trips, somebody stumbles on their speech in the video, and that's okay. One thing that's really important to our brand is that people feel like they can reach out to us and ask questions about their video journey and not feel as though we're a super intimidating company that is doing a lot of things right, because we do have the software and we have a larger team to do so. We run into a lot of the same scenarios that any marketing team would. Which lavalier should we buy? What lighting's the most affordable and can be used outside for an interview? How do you get your sales team to follow a quick little script if you want to put one of them on video? We have all of these same problems that we face on our team as well. So size that doesn't make those problems go away. So we want to be authentic in a sense and make sure people know that we're humans over here and we're facing the same problems you are, and we're very passionate about video. And we're creating maybe more than the average team, but we're still not covering all the areas we would like to be, and we don't have all of those problems solved.
So like with live video, what's been the hardest element or obstacle to get used to or overcome for you guys?
So I think the hardest obstacle we had to overcome is not necessarily doing it. Facebook obviously makes it very easy, for instance, to do a Facebook live video, or there's other live video options out there. It's understanding what value are we providing consumers. And I think an obstacle for us, and probably a very relatable obstacle, is is this topic too small? Is it going to be valuable to them? Why should we put this on video? So understanding that there are some things that we're doing just in our day-to-day that do bring value. For instance, if we're setting up our studio to do some kind of production, taking a moment to stop and say, hey world, this is how we set this up. This is how we set up our lights. This is how we set up our cameras, because somebody might be facing that same problem and wondering how in the world they'll ever do that. And then just opening that up for commentary as well, asking, would you have done this a different way? We'd love to know. Or what did you like about the setup? What did you not like about the setup? What are you doing in your own studio as well, or in your own areas of your company to set up a similar scenario? And what that does is it opens up kind of a collaboration space for those people watching as well, where they can get advice from other marketers who aren't even us in the comments field and things like that. So I think just creating an avenue for conversation.
Have you had any moment that blew up in your face?
We've certainly had a couple mishaps.
That's the fear of live video, right?
Absolutely.
People say, is it going to blow up in my face? So, have you had any of those?
Nothing that blows up in your face. You want to be professional. You want to be authentic. You want to be relatable and just show what you know, essentially, which is what we're all creating content about anyways. So it's just a matter of talking through that live, in a sense, as opposed to taking a couple hours and putting it into a nice document or a nice blog or something like that.
Yeah.
Essentially, you could share that information in a more engaging way, not that it would replace the other, but just give a chance just to be a little authentic while you do so.
So I want to mention that one.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have found is we're starting to put more and more people on camera, right?
Yeah.
Organizations. And we've been approached more and more over the last 18 months by organizations specifically wanting their sales team to perform better on camera.
Okay.
And their subject matter experts.
So what does that mean, perform better?
Yeah, so perform better on camera is the way that we portray ourselves on screen so that we can carry out a thought.
Right.
So that we can deliver that authenticity that you're talking about, so that the viewer says, they seem so warm and so friendly and so believable and they're unbiased. And so it's everything from the way that you hold your body to the way that you might move your hands and, be open palm, and the way that you might smile and start with a smile, or to the way that you may always present both sides of a subject so that you come across as, wow, he or she really is looking out for my best interest, not just trying to sell me something, right? So there's all these elements of when I say performance, it's the way we communicate. It's what we show and what they hear.
Yeah.
It's media trainings happen for years for CEOs of bigger brands.
Yeah.
Right? But we're now, where everybody is their own little media company, I'm seeing that there's this huge need in the marketplace. Because, I had a company recently approach me and said, yeah, Marcus, we shot our first set of videos, and I realized we just suck on video. And they had hired a video production company. They weren't doing it. And so it was a big waste. And like you said earlier, the budget might be gone at that point.
Right.
So I'm seeing that this is a huge need area, and we can't just throw our subject matter experts on camera and say, go. I think it's our obligation to train them, to teach them, to capacitate them on the skill set that is communication and performance on camera. Have you done anything like that? Or are you teaching anything like that to your team or to your customers as well?
So that'd be a great topic for thought leadership to bring out to customers as well. But we face that same problem in a sense. I think it's really up to your video team that's going to sit down with that person, that subject matter expert, and make them feel comfortable, make sure they're well prepared.
But don't you think most video teams aren't really good at this? I have seen over and over that most, I'm not saying yours, but I'm finding that most video teams, they understand how to cut video and how to set up video, but they don't understand how to train the talent on the camera to be at their highest, most comfortable level.
Yeah.
That is not good.
So I think there's a gap there, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got a video team who's used to being around video all the time. They deal with cameras, they deal with lights, they see talent on camera all the time. They've probably dealt with really good talent and, of course, really poor talent as well. And they almost forget that there is a gap there for people who aren't around
Curse of
camera
knowledge.
equipment. Yeah, you know, it's intimidating to be on camera, first and foremost. So you can have the most brilliant subject matter expert in the world who will just
Wet the bed.
melt the moment the camera turns on and they see the red recording light. So to put someone at ease is truly a skill and should be something that's talked about more, definitely. I think it starts with making sure they know in advance, what are we talking about? Here's what I'd like you to hit on.
Yeah.
Giving them the flexibility to know, we'll do 1 million takes if we need to. It's okay. I want you to feel comfortable as we do this. But it's difficult, even when you do that, to make sure people are prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's, this is one of those areas I think it's only gonna grow in its significance.
Yeah.
In the coming years. I know that, and then I'm curious to get your thought on this, especially you're such a visual company, right?
Yeah.
So we are at the point where we're telling most of our clients, if you're doing more than a couple $1 million a year in revenue, you really need to have a full-time videographer. Like, if you want to stay ahead of the marketplace.
Yep.
Because our saying at the sales line is, if you don't show it, it doesn't exist. Whatever it is. In other words, if you say, it's our people that make us different, it doesn't matter if you say it, because everybody else in the marketplace is saying it. So unless you show it, it's not true, right? Or if you say our product or service is the best, it doesn't matter, because everybody else is also saying it. And so unless we show it, it's not true, at least in the minds of the buyer, of the consumer. And I really think a videographer is key to this, not just outsourcing, because if we just outsource, we're never going to produce the amount of visual storytelling and teaching that's necessary. What's your take? Like, how far away do you feel like we are until pretty much the majority of companies, we'll call it above a couple million a year in revenue, right? Because there's always going to be the really small organizations that it might not be there, even though they need to be doing video. It's just not there in the budget to hire a videographer. Where do you think we are on that trail?
So I think there's another option there, actually. So you've got, you're outsourcing, you've got your in-house video production specialist, but you also have the ability to create video content yourself. So video editors right now, of course, you've got your high-end editors like Premiere and very skilled video production specialists that would be using tools of that level for very advanced, national commercial type things. But then you've got products like Camtasia as well that are developed to make video editing easy so that you can bring in content you filmed externally or just record your screen and do a screen capture of your product's interface to talk someone through something and put that into a quick video on the timeline.
That is for the screen, right? So there's a big difference in the editing tools that we have for screen capture versus
it's not just for the screen.
Like, let's say a manufacturer, right? So if I am a manufacturing company and I've never really shown my process, like really the secret sauce, which I think, by the way, I am a manufacturing company, so this is a passion area of mine.
Okay.
We manufacture fiberglass swimming pools, and we distribute them all over the world, right?
Yep.
And so we're going through this huge campaign right now of just showing every card on the table, which no fiberglass pool manufacturer has ever done. We're doing it through video.
Okay.
But I know that I couldn't do this without somebody that truly had like video editing and just skill set on staff, because it's too intensive. Like, I could never hire a video production company and do it the way that we're doing it, because it's literally it's like 8 major videos. They're all around 10 minutes. They're each phase of the manufacturing process. Like, it's intensive. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a manufacturing company. But that's what I mean when I say, I think that although a lot of people can do the basic editing if they try, many won't try, but as you know.
Yep.
But I think there's a whole other set of video that we need to be producing that I think Premiere is out of reach for most people right now. Too intimidating for the majority of just regular marketers, let's say. They dive in, maybe not. That's my take. What's yours?
I would say, in the same way that we all started coming to these contents, knew we needed to start creating more and more content, and we dove in and we learned how to use a WordPress backend to deliver that content. You can teach yourself how to use a video editor, and it doesn't need to be a Premiere style video editor. So taking a tool that is designed to make it easy, that lets you drag and drop elements on a timeline that you have filmed externally. So in your case, specifically, if you are showing fiberglass pools, you're showing the manufacturing process, the biggest asset that people have right now, especially if you're not doing any audio to connect in, and even if you are, really, the biggest tool you have is your phone right now.
Yeah, sure.
We have phones that capture beautiful video.
Oh, no question.
In this day and age. So taking that external content, transferring it to an editor that you can drag and drop things onto a timeline, add different elements, add audio in the background. I'm telling you, marketers can do this. Anyone on a marketing team.
How many, how long does it take? Let's say a marketer knows marketing but doesn't know video editing.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think it takes them to get to the point where they're able to say, I can do pretty solid video editing that's respectable? It's not.
Yeah.
That's not like video production company stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
it gets the
beyond,
job done.
It's beyond the basic, hold a phone and then upload it to YouTube.
And then just share that. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think long at all. I think somebody could capture some video, throw it into a timeline, and within the matter of a half of a day, have a very respectable video that they could showcase and want to share externally. And it only goes up from there. Once you build that initial confidence level and see, I can do this, and I actually shared this piece of video content, that's something that's repeatable. And you're only going to add additional flair from there, maybe add a lower third, maybe discover new avenues for implementing new audio and things like that. It only goes up from there. But I think if you could, especially for the do-it-all marketers out there that are used to teaching themselves every single tool, you've discovered how to set up a drip campaign, you're doing
no question.
A/B.
I mean, if you can use a tool like HubSpot, you can do video marketing.
Exactly. If you can use
you
a
can do
tool like
video
HubSpot, you can dive into a video editor.
Yeah.
And kind of cross that bridge for the first time and get better at it. You didn't start with HubSpot and have 50 campaigns running all at the same time that were directed on your behavior and your consumer's behavior and things like that. You built up to that. So just like anything else, you can dive in a little bit, test the waters, build up to that
Cool.
confidence level.